Hey, what's going on, guys? Wanted to check in with y'all. I know it's been a minute since I had made a video. Um, I am coming to y'all live from Cartagena, Colombia. Um, yeah, so I arrived here a couple of days ago. Um, it was an interesting journey. I had to catch a flight from Houston, which is my hometown, as you guys know, anybody that's watched any of my videos, from Houston to Fort Lauderdale, and then was supposed to fly from Fort Lauderdale to Medellin. So when I got to the airport, I had an outline of every test, every vaccination, negative COVID, negative TB, I mean, you name it. I mean, I've had every vaccination under the sun, every test under the sun. So I was flying Spirit Airlines, and Spirit Airlines, they're absolute morons. I've got to say, they're just morons. So as you go into the international line, there's a person there checking to make sure you have a negative COVID test, and so that's kind of what this video is about. I know there's a lot of questions out there about, what do you need to travel, where can you go, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of just wanted to take a minute to elucidate my experience. As I said, I was in the line and a lady came by and looked. I showed her on my phone. You have to submit proof of that COVID test. You have to fill out some other information on this website. It's called like Migración. It's like immigration, I think. And so you have to fill that out 24 hours prior to arriving in Colombia. No more than 24 hours, and I think no later than 1 hour before your flight is supposed to depart. So so the lady checked it, everything was good. I waited in the line for an hour. It was crazy. There was like 10,000 people there, and they had like 5 people helping everybody. It's kind of like Walmart at the airport. It was ridiculous. So I get up there, and the ticket lady looked at it, and she looked confused. And then she goes to another coworker, and she looked confused. And then a supervisor comes over. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. So long story short, basically what they had told me was they had never seen a test like mine. They'd never seen it. And so that's not my fault. That's not my problem. So then this manager comes over, and supposedly he's going to call Colombia and get the final scoop or whatever. He didn't fucking call Colombia. He's full of shit. But 4 or 5 people, when they looked at it, they said, no, that's not good. So then I found another record that I had that again had all my stuff on it. It had the name of the hospital, everything. So people start looking at this. They said, oh yeah, this looks good to me. This looks good to me. This looks good to me. But then the manager again said, no, I'm going to call Colombia and see what's what. So they're really idiots, because I overheard them telling a person, so the 96-hour rule, it's really unclear as to, okay, is it 96 hours from the date that you took the test, or is it 96 hours from the date that the test resulted? Depends on who you ask. Unfortunately, this is one of those situations where perception is reality. So they were telling people erroneously that, you had your test on Monday. Well, today's, Thursday or Friday or whatever. So they said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're over the days, but they're not counting it correctly. So let's use Monday at noon for an example. So Monday to Tuesday is one day. Tuesday to Wednesday is another day. Wednesday to Thursday is a day. Thursday to Friday is a day. That's the 4 days. That's 96 hours. But they were trying to say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days. So they're idiots. They don't know, they don't know. And again, there was so much discord amongst the Spirit employees that you couldn't get a straight answer. And basically, like I said, the reason was because they had never seen it. And I'm like, I work in healthcare. I have all my records, everything, every shot, every titer I've ever had, every test, TB, COVID, you name it. It's all in one spot. So then they said, oh no, we have to see the printout from the lab. And I was like, well, where does it say that? It doesn't say that. I knew it had to be a PCR test, and I knew, it couldn't be the rapid, it couldn't be the antibody test, it had to be the PCR, basically the nasopharyngeal, which is what I had done, and that's what it resulted. A negative COVID test stated that it had the PCR, and so they just didn't know what they were talking about. So, that being said, I was able to contact the hospital, get the actual report from the lab, and then I flew out the next day. But I couldn't go to Medellin because there wasn't another flight for like another couple of days. And so, it was raining like hell just a couple of days ago in Fort Lauderdale because of that tropical storm Gemma or whatever the hell it's called. We were getting some of the rain bands, and it was really bad. So I decided to come to Cartagena instead because I could fly out the very next day, and it wasn't going to push my COVID test beyond a certain amount of time. So basically, if you want to go to Colombia, you have to do those two things. One, you have to get a COVID PCR test, and you have to show proof from the lab, whether it's Quest, LabCorp, whatever lab that you use. They want to see, that's what they want to see. And so that's what I ended up showing them. And you're going to have to show that multiple times. You have to show it at the ticket counter. You show it when you get on the plane. You show it again at customs, and then I had to show it at my hotel. So you're gonna show that a lot. So I know there's a lot of questions. A lot of people were trying to come to Colombia and were really unsure what was required. So I literally just went through this like 2 days ago. So I was hoping that this video might be helpful for you guys. So tomorrow I fly to Medellin. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll have to show the COVID test again. Hopefully I won't have to go through customs again because I'm already in Colombia, but I have the COVID test. And so it was really, like I said, a pain in the ass. I had to pay for an extra night hotel, which, whatever. But I mean, just, I understand that, not everybody's perfect. But I mean, if you're going to try to enforce a policy, everybody needs to be on the same page. You can't have your staff giving, 10 different employees giving 7 different answers. That is not okay. Not okay. In Spirit, in this case, we're kind of in a unique situation because as of the other day, and to my knowledge, they're the only airline that's actually flying to Colombia. So I couldn't get a direct flight from Houston, just because of, with COVID, everything has changed. Masks are compulsory everywhere here in Cartagena. I believe the same in Medellin, even if you're outside. I'm going to be posting some other videos of some of the things that I've seen here. They were doing some they're really, really, really doing a pretty fantastic job of social distancing, enforcing that, temperature checks. I went to this mall earlier and they actually had a thermal scanner. You walk into this thing and it's like a camera and it reads your entire body, and it reads, of course, in Celsius because they're on the metric system here. There was a girl standing there that had a thermometer, but it was like this thermal scanner from like Predator. It showed the person's like hot spots and stuff. It was super cool. So I got a pretty dope video of that. And then like everywhere you walk into, it is compulsory to use hand sanitizer. And because it's so freaking humid here, my hands were sopping wet, and that hand sanitizer just turned into just goop. It was so sticky, so disgusting, and it wasn't doing shit. But they still make you do it. I mean, store to store to store, they have hand sanitizer there, and up on every store in this little mall, they had the number 06 or the number 17, the number of people that were allowed in the store. And so they're taking the precautions very seriously. I was at a little coffee shop inside of the mall, and the employees, I mean, their cleanliness was really remarkable. In the U.S., I watch, because I work in healthcare, I watch how people wash their hands. If they pick their nose, dig in their butt, adjust their crotch, scratch their armpit. Like some restaurants, they'll come out, they'll have the pepper mill, the big old pepper mill to do the cracked pepper, and they'll have it under their armpit. Oops, they'll have it under their armpit, and then they grab it after they've been sweating and funky, and they grab it like, would you like some cracked pepper? I'm like, no. You keep your funky, sweaty, cracked pepper. I'll just use the shit here on the table. Hopefully nobody sneezed on that or decided to shove it in their ass. But like I said, their precautions here are pretty remarkable. And I was glad to see that. I mean, I'm not against the precautions. What I'm against is the ignorance of the people that are supposed to be telling us what we need to do. And part of the issue too was I don't speak Spanish very well, and so when you go to a website like that Migracion website and you choose English, a lot of it is still in Spanish. I got the proof of me submitting that form. It came completely in Spanish, and I was like, what the hell? I asked for English. So and it was kind of weird too, because I submitted it with specific travel dates from Fort Lauderdale to Medellin, but that was on Friday, October the 2nd. But I didn't fly out to Cartagena till Saturday, October 3rd. But I wasn't allowed to submit another form. It kept saying, oh, you have travel plans with the same information. I was like, no, I don't. I'm flying on a different day, a different flight number, to a different city in Colombia. But that didn't matter. It would not allow me to submit another form. But when I got here, there was no problem. There was no problem. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I had to show. They'll want to see. You'll have to pull up the address of where you're staying, and you have to show them that at customs. So how whatever the duration of your trip is, like if you use Airbnb, there's a spot you can go down and choose a PDF, and it'll pop up. You can even have it done in Spanish or English or whatever, because some people their English is not very good, but a lot of people's English is better than my Spanish. So like I said, I just wanted to show you guys, talk to you a little bit about what I've experienced here in Cartagena. A lot of stuff is still not open. A lot of the restaurants and bars and stuff are shut down, and the ones that are open, like for example, I'm staying at a Marriott, like right on the beach. I walk out the front door and there's the beach. It's pretty freaking awesome. The restaurant here has a very limited menu, and so if you are thinking about coming here, just that's something to consider. But aside from the fact that Cartagena is extremely humid, and when you're walking around with this mask on, man, it's like you're trying to breathe through a wet sponge. I mean, it was awful. I was short of breath a few times even talking about it. Excuse me, is making me yawn. That's a mirror neuron response. Because like I said, it was difficult to breathe. I had to pull my mask down and kind of take in the air. I mean, I was drenched in sweat. It was ridiculous. I mean, you can see my face is red. I was afraid that when I got through the temperature scanner, that like my temperature was going to show elevated, because I mean I was hot as fuck. And I had stopped at the store to get some water and a few other little things, and I just carried the receipt back in my hand. And when I got back to my hotel, it wasn't even that far. It was like a couple of blocks up the road. The receipt was like soaking wet just from me carrying it. I had some money, some Colombian pesos in my pocket. They were kind of wet, and I was like, my God, like I'm sweating like a pig here. But I'm super stoked to be here. So like I said, I just wanted to share with you guys what my experience was. So just kind of to recap, you have to get the PCR COVID test. It has to show from the lab. It has to show that it's negative. It has to say like SARS and this other stuff, COVID-19 has to have a lot of identifying information. And then it has to show that it was the nasopharyngeal PCR test. Like that's the most important. And some people were even saying, oh no, we prefer a printout. Well, I mean, I don't give a shit what you prefer. Like, what is your policy? I mean, we don't have to use printout boarding passes. I had everything on my phone and on my laptop. I was, stuck out of line, showing them on the laptop, and it was just awful. But anyway, got that behind me, made it here now. So hopefully you guys find this video helpful. If you're wanting to come to Colombia, depending on where you're coming from, I don't know about other countries. I think as long as you're not from a country that's flat out banned from Colombia right now, that's all you have to do, the 96-hour negative PCR test. So, but double check, but be careful, because like I said, when I was trying to convert the information into English, not everything, English is kind of weird, not everything in Spanish transfers over and vice versa. So it may come up, all I saw was that I needed a proof of a negative COVID test, and it had to be the PCR, which my paperwork identified that. But again, perception is reality. So stay tuned for more videos. I'll upload some stuff from me being around Cartagena, and then my trip to Medellin. I'm gonna try to hit up some more South American countries. I want to go to Argentina and Ecuador and a few other places, Chile, Peru. So we'll see. I'm super stoked about this, and stay tuned. There'll be more information. Be safe.